welcome to everyone joining us. My name is Amy Sessions and I'm editor and associate publisher of Emirates Woman. In our series In Discussion With, we'll be joined by the industry's leading experts, incredible women of influence and the global luxury brands who inspire us. Today's guest is Her Excellency Sheikha Hind bint Majid Al Qasimi, Chairperson of Sharjah Businesswomen Council. Welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you with us today. I've spent much time in Sharjah previously and have such a soft spot for the ladies there. So it's great to have you with us today.
It's my pleasure too. It's my pleasure.
I wanted to start off by talking a little bit about Sharjah Businesswomen Council. It's dedicated to the efforts to drive integration of business women in the economy and to promote a culture of sustainable female entrepreneurship in the Emirate. I wanted to ask you, how have you seen it change since you first became involved in this from the outset? How has it grown?
So, as you said, SBWC was established to provide a strong platform for our businesswomen and to use their capabilities and skills to establish and extend their businesses in Sharjah and in the UAE. We have our objectives, which we have our holistic training programs as an education, upskilling, and offering end-to-end support for both established and inspiring women. So to achieve these objectives, we form a partnership with government and private entities, and we have launched few initiatives, programs, and services to support their women to achieve their goals.
It's amazing. It's such an amazing concept, and I've been now at Emirates Woman for a couple of years, and the whole ethos of for us really is women supporting women. And also women supporting men and vice versa, men supporting women. But we see such a huge, such a huge interaction with women in this region, particularly, and on a global scale, all supporting each other, connecting each other to, lift each other and grow each other, which is such an amazing thing to see. I wanted to ask you, what are the core values really at the center of what you're doing? How do you ensure that all the decisions and the strategy are linked back to those core values as well?
So SBWC was established in 2002, and our efforts have focused in driving the fully integration of the businesswomen in the economy. And it's in align with Her Highness Sheikha Hind bint Al Qasimi, the wife of the ruler of Sharjah, and the Chairperson of NAMA, and the founder of SBWC. So she inspire, encourage, and empower women. So this is her vision, and we make sure to go through it.
I wanted to touch on that point. Are there particular characteristics that you see in the successful female entrepreneurs that you work with? And what do you look for when you're looking to support somebody who wants to go into business themselves? Are there characteristics that are, essential? And how do you support somebody who maybe doesn't have such a strong strength in this area?
See, as I said, we do support a businesswoman and an established woman. So we have a lot of initiatives that could support and upskill her skills, how to set up her business. And we do have our platform for mentorship. So we can link her to a mentor that will help her to push herself out of her comfort zone, let's say. So we do have, like, as I said, the mentorship. We do create workshops to help her skills and how to set up her business. And I think this could help her to push forward, opening her business or growing her business, let's say.
I love that idea of mentorship, because a lot of the questions that we ask the ladies that we interview on a global scale and a local scale about their success is oftentimes when they have their own companies, we ask them a lot about how does the creative side and the commercial side sit together, and if they feel drawn to particularly one side or the other. And it's oftentimes that they are drawn in by the idea of the creative side, and the entrepreneurialism comes because they are a creative person. Exactly. But they often need help on the commercial side because that's not necessarily their strongest skill set. And I think what you're talking about is being able to support them through mentorship and through additional team members, perhaps, to be able to balance out where their skill set lies. It's such an important thing. I think not everybody in business can be good at everything. It's not possible.
Exactly.
So
no, you can't at all, because if I talk about myself as a fine art background and then setting up my businesses, I didn't study a business, so SBWC was one of my support to push myself into this field, how to grow up my business. And from the simplest thing is how to price the product.
Yes.
So they had a program of pricing products, because businesses doesn't know how to price products, for example. They just have their own thoughts of just creating the business, but there's a lot of aspects coming behind it. So, so I think people need to learn and support each other in different aspects.
I definitely think it's true. I've mentored some brands as well. And I also think that there's a feeling that female entrepreneurs in business, when they're creating a product like you were just describing, sometimes it's a lack of knowledge of how to structure that wholesale and commercial, the numbers behind it. But it's also, I think that women, when they're creating something that they're passionate about, I think that the revenue side, although highly important in business to scale a business, it's a side tube for what they're doing, right? Because they're fulfilling their dream and they're fulfilling what they want to do. And I find it really important that you give them the tools to ask for what they should get, exactly, not just to accept what they're given.
Exactly.
So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
Other than your own success story, which of course you have your own beautiful brand, of course, Liz, I wanted to ask, since your time there, are there one or two key success stories that you feel, whether you want to name a name or whether you want to talk about the general story, are there success stories that you feel that you have been part of?
We do create trade missions for our members. So I have seen these members who have been to the trade missions, how they continue and grow their businesses when you put B2B, manufacturing wise, and supporting them in GITEX is one of our main members. One of our latest members was in Torino Fashion Week. Two of our members went to the fashion show of Torino Fashion Week 2021. So I believe pushing them out of their comfort zone really helps them to see the world in different aspects, let's say.
Yeah, see the wider picture, because sometimes there's opportunity.
And there is, because I think every entrepreneur have a risk, to do something, but he's just worried. So I believe that the initiatives and the effort we're doing for our members really push them to do out of the ordinary and in a good way, let's say, to achieve their goals.
Yeah, it's amazing that they have that support, because it's I think it's the same as female friendships. They're not the best ones, are not always where everyone is saying everything nice. I think you want to have relationships where you learn and you grow. Exactly. And pushing those comfort boundaries is very important.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you, since you became involved with the entity, what are some of the biggest challenges? There's so much great work that you have all been doing, but what have been the more challenging aspects to overcome?
If we talk about challenges, I believe the pandemic was certainly the most critical period of SBWC, because we had to cancel programs, initiatives, and workshops which we are used to do it face to face.
Yes.
And exhibitions. So we really had to shift everything to digitalize it in a way. And I'm so proud of my team, which they really catch it in, like, let's say in 2 weeks.
Wow.
We started workshops online. And our members was very active that they would like to attend the workshops, and we hosted the virtual workshops to help them e-commerce and how to digitalize their business.
Amazing.
So the challenge was the pandemic, and it was very hard for us to lose some of the initiatives and programs, but we tried our best to support our members through creating the workshops. And we had SBWC talks. It was also virtual. It's not about a workshop, but it was like two members talking to each other, inspiring and supporting each other.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And I think what's really interesting is, you know, the brands and the entities that we saw have to suddenly move online into e-commerce since physical events and everything else is gradually coming back. They've only benefited from making that jump, because now they have a way to scale directly to their clients. They have a way to scale directly and speak to their clients, not only about what, you know, their product offerings are perhaps, but they also have an interaction digitally, and they're able to listen to their consumer. And much of the, you know, many of the businesses and the businesswomen that we know, businessmen as well, you know, the people that I think are most successful in business are really the people that listen to their customer. You talked a bit about...
Yeah, it wasn't easy to transform everything when you're used to, let's say, papers and people, to have it online. It was very risky for us even to do it, but I'm so really proud of the team and even our members that we really had a lot of workshops and initiatives which we launched them in the pandemic.
Had you already had plans to do so, but it just moved ahead earlier? Wow.
At all. So it was really a hard effort.
You were out of your comfort zone for these 2 weeks.
Exactly. I'm a very visual person, so it was hard, but I believe it connected people. It connected. I don't know. I had a collaboration, for example, with the New York. So I think instead of flying, it's a global. So I think there is a good benefits and the advantage and disadvantage of the pandemic, but we always see the bright side of it.
I agree. I think what it did was, even when you couldn't, for example, connect with people in real life, what it suddenly did was it opened you up to connecting in the same way with somebody who was in the same city as you, or someone who was on the other side of the world, in an equal way, give or take a time. And I know a lot of people that launched their own businesses. I wanted to just touch on, because obviously you're part of the success story of Sharjah Businesswomen's Council. In your own brand, did you have to pivot also in terms of production? I know there were a lot of brands that had problems with production or shipping to clients. Did you have to pivot in any way yourself?
Yes, we had to, because some places they had to close the factories. Yes. And we cannot ship, and the production line went really low. But this didn't let us stop. We just need to adapt the changes and shift the date. So instead of having them in 2 months, you could give them in 3 months, let's say.
Okay.
So it's not a reason to stop at all.
And in the time that you've been at Sharjah Businesswomen's Council, have you got very long-standing members then? Do you feel that it's an entity which, you know, welcomes women and they grow within the establishment themselves?
We do focus on our members to provide them all the tools and resources to overcome the crisis and strength they need from us, you know. We had, as I said, the mentorship was one of our main success through the pandemic. Them and to give them the, let's say, the knowledge and tools to start up again or to adjust their planning and implement the new regulation, let's say, in the business.
How does it work if you have a mentor? Do you have access to them for a certain number of hours per month or a week, or
so they can apply through our app, and it's per hour. So they need to just plug and check their best mentor, and it's per hour, and then it continues depend on what the member needs.
As part of the mentorship program, I would say that the mentors also get something back from this partner exchange. It's super exciting for them also to feel being part of something new, something growing.
And I think giving is the part of the mentor.
Yes.
So, some of the mentor, they need to pay for the mentor, but because they're a member of SBWC, they have a certain rate to pay for, so they don't pay the 100% of the mentor. Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. It's great to have access to this kind of support, because I think, and I was having this conversation with a friend of mine before, you know, mentors in your life, historically in anyone's career, they happen, I would say, by chance. So some people are lucky to have this and some people are not. And what I think you're doing is you're bringing to the table a platform where everyone can have this. Everyone can have this.
Exactly.
It's not us. It's an amazing undertaking. Can I ask you, if you had to share with our readers, if you've had mentors in your life, or what knowledge they've imparted to you that's been very beneficial, either professionally or personally?
Okay. I have two mentors in my life. So let's say my teenage was my mother.
Yes.
And in my career, Her Highness Sheikha Hind bint Al Qasimi, the wife of the ruler of Sharjah, she's behind where I am now. She really believed in me and pushed me to professionally and personally, you know, she thought of like, you really have it and you really need to do it. So she's really an inspiring person, and I can say she's my mentor in my life right now.
It's amazing. I actually met Her Highness once before, and I also felt this from our conversation. I wasn't so lucky to meet her multiple times yet, but I also felt quite inspired by the conversations we were having. So it was lovely to meet her.
She believes in me, so I think this is what gives me the push to do my best.
Amazing.
In both careers and personal life.
And it's difficult to balance the two. It's not easy, but it's you have to. I was listening to a podcast.
She has the key. She has the key. She will tell you how to balance.
I will call her for this.
She will give you the key how to balance between your life and your career, so you don't lose both.
I really
thank her for that. Yes.
I was listening to a podcast actually recently, and it was a female founder. She founded a huge clothing brand in the US, and she was very, very interesting to listen to. And she was saying, you can have it all, but not all at the same time, all the time.
That's true.
I thought, I'm going to remember this. This is good.
Yeah.
I wanted to just close by asking you to explain a little bit about the Pear Quest. And I know that's going to take place as part of Expo, but could you just kind of share with our viewers and our readers a little bit about this and why it might be interesting for them to visit?
Yeah. So let me tell you about the Pear Quest. It's our first pitching event where women-owned businesses can recognize and been funding and to grow. There are 8 members enrolled. They're all female. Mm-hmm. And right now they are in an intensive program with the PwC for their preparation to pitch an expo on the 8th of February. And this will give them a lot of opportunity to grow their businesses. SBWC Women and Business Supporters team with the sponsors partnership will sponsor and prize the 3 winning ideas happening on that day. So I'm really looking forward for their pitches and the winner too, because it's really very original ideas coming up, and we really do have a surprise of one of, maybe I'm just telling you now, one of the members she's a mother and a daughter, let's say. So I'm looking forward for their pitch, to be honest.
Amazing. I think it's sometimes, you know, we were talking earlier about you know, lockdown, COVID, and I think it's really interesting what's happened out of this time, because I think sometimes you only come up with these great ideas when you really have no other option, or you really have to think of doing something in a completely different way. And I see that as, you know, maybe like the silver lining to the cloud that was COVID-19, that there are a lot of entrepreneurial people on a global scale. But one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know whether you've found the same at Sharjah Businesswomen Council, but since the pandemic, I have seen a lot more women start their own business than before.
True.
Many.
So let's say alone in women in Sharjah in 2020, 3,000 business licenses issued in the pandemic.
Yeah.
So that's a big growth in a year for just women opening new businesses, not only renewing their businesses, opening their new business. So I believe maybe the environment helped them with different ideas coming up to open their own business. And there's 94%, let me get it right. Yeah, it's 94% entrepreneurs SME in the UAE by itself. Right. So it's a big number actually, and number of women going globally and having their own license. This is really a proud moment, to be honest.
One thing I wanted to highlight was that I read about your entity was that you decided to welcome, and I can tell you that I feel Arab in heart, but I don't look, but I feel for me. But I thought it was really interesting that you decided to welcome women based in the Emirate from any nationality, not only nationals, and I found that so heartwarming and so important, because for me, I've been here this time 7 years. I was here for 2 years before, so that's 9 years in total. I have never felt so happy to be living anywhere as I do here, and for me it really feels like home. So to know that there are entities out there that also recognize people who have chosen to make this home, not that we're just born here, I think is such a great thing. Can I ask you, was that from the beginning something that was a given to you, that you would include every woman based in Sharjah?
Yes, it was given. We have the members is from the UAE, based in the UAE, and even abroad, because we do have a lot of international councils. So they do be part of the Sharjah Businesswomen Council. So our benefits to all members, to be honest, how to set up their businesses, how to support them, the access of mentors, consults, it's not only for the UAE, it's even who's based in the UAE and abroad. And I believe in collaborations. I believe in women collaborating with women. So it's not only in the UAE, it's a globe.
Your Excellency, I can't tell you what a pleasure it is to discuss this with you, and I hope that we get to have many more conversations about this. It's so important. So thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
And see you in Sharjah.
You will, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.